This quick bread mix can be assembled in advance and then prepared really easily. The beautiful lemon flavor comes from the inclusion of freeze-dried lemons and lemon powder in the mix. After baking, the loaf is soaked in a lemon simple syrup while still warm. Eventually, it's coated in lemon glaze. It's divine. This reminds me so much of the lemon loaf I've had at Starbucks, but this version is way less expensive and equally scrumptious. If you love a lemon loaf, then this mix is definitely worth a try. Welcome to the Freeze Dried Foodie. My name's Kareth. Here you'll find delicious recipes that feature freeze-dried ingredients. Now, I use a lot of Thrivalist, but they've gone out of business and you can use other brands in my recipes. Lots of us have food stores that we need to know how to cook with. On this channel, I'll show you how I cook with mine. A traditional lemon loaf recipe is going to rely on some lemon zest in order to really bring that lemon flavor to the forefront. And I figured out in converting my recipes to shelf-stable versions that if you can get as close as possible to an original recipe, then you're going to get the best results. And the way I include that lemon zest in this recipe is by adding freeze-dried lemon slices, because they freeze-dry the entire lemon, so you're going to get the zest in there too. It just really, really helps to make sure that your lemon loaf is full of lemon flavor. I highly recommend you get those freeze-dried lemon slices. I get mine from Wise Harvest, and I will include that link below. All right, so whenever you're ready to assemble this, you're going to need a quart-sized jar, and in the bottom is going to go the flour. And then I like to go ahead and you can use like 3 or 4 slices. You can actually use more than that if you want to. But I like to take those freeze-dried lemon slices from Wise Harvest and then remove as many of the big seeds as I can find in there. They literally slice the lemon and freeze-dry the entire thing. So I go ahead and remove the seeds and then put that in the blender. Really what you want to do is blend this into a fine powder. You could put it in a baggie and hit it with a rolling pin, but I really suggest you blend this up. It needs to be into a powder. And then in addition to that, you need to add lemon powder. And I get mine from Amazon. I have it linked in my Amazon store in the description box below. Let's talk about the next things that are going to go in here. I'm going to put quite a few things of dairy in here. I'll talk about that in a minute. But you're going to need to add some scrambled egg mix. And I'm using the Thrivalist brand, and that's the entire egg. So you'll use the equivalent of 3 eggs. And then as far as dairy goes, you're going to need to add instant milk powder, sour cream powder, and butter powder. And the combination of those things is going to give you a really rich loaf. Okay. Now I started to add my sugar here and I just kind of ran out of room, but you'll be surprised at how much more room you can find at the top of your jar if you pat it down. So give it a pat, pat, pat and settle those ingredients. And then I went ahead and added the other things that I needed, like kosher salt, baking powder, and vanilla powder. Then I topped it off with the rest of that sugar, and that is your jar. So this is the jar that you can keep stored on your pantry shelf. It makes a great gift. It's very easy to prepare this. And that way, if you have this on your shelf and you're hungry for some lemon loaf, it is ready and waiting for you. Whenever you're ready to prepare this loaf, you're going to need to, first of all, preheat your oven because this batter comes together really fast. You're going to need to get out a large bowl, some oil, some water, and a hand mixer because it can incorporate some air into your batter and get it nice and fluffy and light. Empty the contents of the jar into the bowl and give it all a really good stir. You want to just combine those ingredients. You're going to need about 1/3 cup of oil. I like to use coconut oil whenever I bake, but I ran out, so I supplemented with some avocado oil. You can use whatever kind of oil you like. You can use vegetable oil or whatever. And then in goes about 1 1/3 cups of water. And that's all you have to add is a little bit of oil and some water. I like to give this a stir before I get out my hand mixer and go to town on it. But this is kind of like if you were making a boxed cake mix from the grocery store, and you know how it says after you add the ingredients, it says to get out your hand mixer and mix this for probably a couple of minutes. That's the idea of what I'm doing here. Not only is it going to really fluff up those ingredients, but it's also going to kind of get rid of any little lumps. My sour cream powder was a little bit lumpy. And anyway, using the handheld mixer really helps with that. All right, and then you can go ahead and put this into a prepared loaf pan. I went ahead and sprayed mine and got some softened butter and a little brush, got into the corners. It just needs to be really well greased. In goes the batter, and then you'll need to bake this for somewhere around an hour at 325F. You might start checking it at about 50 minutes, 55 minutes. I ended up baking my loaf for a total of 1 hour and 5 minutes. Okay, and as that bakes, you can make a glaze. It's just powdered sugar, lemon powder, butter powder, and a pinch of salt. If you want to, this glaze can be stored next to your loaf jar. It's all shelf-stable ingredients, so you can definitely do that if you want to. And then I'm just adding some water here. You could also add lemon juice if you have, bottled lemon juice that you store. That makes it intensely lemony. It's wonderful. But you just want to make sure that you don't add too much liquid here, because this glaze, you want it to be a little bit on the thicker side. So I just add liquid, 2 or 3 tablespoons of liquid total, and that's all I add to it. If you get a little bit overzealous and add too much water, don't panic or anything. Just add some more powdered sugar. It will all end up fine in the end. You do need to whisk this pretty vigorously. You want your glaze to be nice and smooth. All right, now here's an optional step, but I highly recommend it. Get out another little bowl. Add just a tablespoon or 2 of the glaze to the bowl. Add 2 to 3 tablespoons of lemon juice or a combination of water and lemon powder. Whisk it, and this is going to become kind of like a lemon simple syrup that you can add to the warm loaf. And that is going to really improve the flavor of your loaf. All right, I took mine out after about 55 minutes, cake tested it, put it back in for 10 more minutes. And I did cover it with some aluminum foil so it didn't get too brown on the top. And now it's time for that simple syrup. I just take a brush and I just get this thing really coated in that lemon simple syrup. And what's going to do is it's going to soak into that warm loaf. I mean, this was just right out of the oven. It's wonderful if you put it on that warm loaf because it's just going to soak in and keep things nice and moist, and it's going to intensify the lemon flavor of your loaf. So yeah, I highly recommend you do the simple syrup step. Now, I left my loaf in the pan for probably 5 or 10 minutes until I could handle it a little bit better after I put that simple syrup on there. And then I finagled it out of the loaf pan, and you need to let it completely cool on a wire rack. Now, I did not do that. I was in a bit of a hurry. I needed to take pictures and stuff. Mine didn't actually cool all the way, so that's why my glaze kind of settled into the loaf more instead of staying really white on the top. But if you want your glaze to be, like really pronounced and white, then all you have to do is let it cool completely and then add the glaze. I just wanted y'all to see the interior of this loaf. Isn't it gorgeous? It so reminds me of pound cake, this like a lemon pound cake, because the crumb is really tight, but it's also very tender. And it is super moist. And I think the simple syrup, the lemon simple syrup that I put on there, and the lemon glaze, along with the lemon zest that's inside the loaf and the lemon powder and all that, I just think it comes together beautifully in this lemon loaf. The flavor is definitely there. I think sometimes if you don't include some sort of lemon oil or lemon zest, then the lemon flavor can just be too muted. But This is not. This is a lovely lemon flavor. Now it's still light, but it's definitely there. And you can tell, yeah, this is a lemon loaf. Every once in a while, you'll see in the interior of this loaf, the little lemon zest, the bright yellow, bright, almost orange color of that lemon zest. And it's just gorgeous in there. It makes for a wonderfully tender and super moist loaf. I hope as you see me cutting into this loaf that you can just tell how tender it is. This bread is so moist, and that's how you want it to be. A dried out loaf of any kind of bread is just like not what I'm going for. So yeah, this is definitely not going to be dry. It's definitely going to be nice and tender and really moist. And if that's the kind of thing that you like in a quick bread, then I think you're going to like this loaf. I think it turned out amazing. I've been wanting to work on a lemon loaf quick bread recipe for you for a while, and I just now had enough time to do it and to make some tweaks, and it just turned out amazing. I'm so excited to share it with you. If you like my recipes for like mixes in jars and meals in jars, and you're interested in having the recipes in cookbook form, I do have a couple of cookbooks. I will link to those below. I've got them in print version and in Kindle version on Amazon. And then I have digital downloads available on my website, which is thefreezedriedfoodie.com. I will link to all of this below. You can use like any brand of freeze-dried food in your jars as you assemble them. I use mostly Thrivalist because I sold that for years, but now they're out of business. You're unable to buy that anymore, but you can use other brands. All right, guys. Well, thank y'all so much for watching. Please be a friend and hit that thumbs up button. It really does help my channel. And finally, let me share with you the verse of the day, Acts 4:12, and it reads, "And there is salvation in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven that has been given among men by which we must be saved." Amen. Thank you, Jesus. All right, guys, I hope y'all have a blessed day, a wonderful week, and until next time, y'all take care and keep thriving.